welcome to the channel. My name is Piotr Kowalczyk, and in today's video we are exploring one specific topic. It's a trombone and its range. Our goal is to discover where it sits on the piano, what kind of range are we facing in, and the characteristics, the sound, possibilities. In the end of the day, we are going to feel way much better about using it. Let's get started. I have this feeling in my gut, what tells me that I'm not skilled enough or prepared to write for horns. That feeling, it's very intimidating. This feeling keeps me away from writing for horns. And I'm thinking I had enough of this, which means I have to find a way to overcome that fear. The best way to overcome it is to slowly introduce these horns to myself. I'm gonna ask myself questions like you could ask yourself. So we are starting with the trombone. Questions regarding the general function of horns in music won't help us today. So I have to go deeper and be more specific, like a Google research kind of thing. So we are starting with the trombone today. So the very first question I could ask, if I want to know how to write for trombone, is the range of motion. You see, the last thing I want to do is to put myself in this stupid situation, then I write something for the trombonist, and the trombonist looks at the music paper. It's like, dude, you're out of range. These notes don't exist, or these are too high. You won't succeed with this. So what does it tell them about me? I'm not prepared, I'm sloppy, and I don't know anything about that instrument. Okay, so I'm gonna eliminate that first. So let's just take a look at the trombone range. Let's start with the middle C of the trombone. Okay, so now look what happened. The range of motion starting from the bottom goes from A flat, which we cannot play, all the way to the E flat. So now, the range of motion, it's a one thing. The comfortable range of motion, it's when musician feels safe and comfortable. And the scale goes from E all the way to the B flat. Okay, so we've got 2.5 octaves. Okay. Now, the comfortable range of motion for the trombone starts from E to B flat. However, when you deal with a good player, they could very easily go beyond that B but I wouldn't try to go beyond B flat. So this range would be very difficult to control by a horn what is like medium skilled. Okay? All right, so we established that the safe range of motion goes from E to B flat. Okay, 4 trombones. And all of a sudden we've got 4 trombones playing in a comfortable range. Okay, so any trombone you touch from this point, it's gonna hit those notes. Few more factors about the trombone. So I'm thinking, okay, I introduce myself this range, but turns out this A flat doesn't play. Why is that? I'm looking at VST plugin, and the VST plugin allows me to go only to E. Okay? VST plugin allows me to go beyond that range what we introduced by half a step. So it's like, well, I'm confused, right? At the same time, here's the deal. We've got additional 3 pedal notes on the trombone. A flat, A, and B flat. Sometimes the trombonist goes to the 7th position and does okay. Now I could use those pedal notes by using 4 trombones, or if the budget doesn't allow me, I've got only 1, use the 1. But there is a certain gap between B and E. Like E is played, but after that, between E flat D, D flat C, and B, there is nothing. Okay? So we have to be aware of that gap. So we play. Sorry. And after that, there is nothing. And then if you try to hit those notes, those pedal notes, okay, you can do that. From the technical aspect of that instrument, you cannot just play, 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 and then expect those pedal notes to manifest right away. You have to give a time for that musician to prepare these notes. So you play, and then you give them a couple of seconds before they blow those pedal notes. Okay? Very important. You're going to look like a skilled composer. It's like, I know what I'm doing, I understand the instrument, and I respect that musician and instrument. Okay, so we've got the real range of the instrument. Our favorite range. Okay, and now it's time to quickly introduce the muted sound of the trombone. Just remember that the mute exists for special effects. When I think about a muted trombone, I'm thinking definitely limitation. Definitely this mute is gonna impact the sound. and probably the performance of an instrumentalist. We are facing many mutes for the trombone, different sizes and shapes, and they all produce different sound in the end. Now, as an arranger, I don't have to go into that detail. Let me tell you something. As an arranger, my job is to organize the music in a way that when I bring it to the rehearsal, everything is polished to perfection. However, as a composer, also I want to leave a room for some elements of experiment. Element of experiment could be a try during the rehearsal different mutes, and then decide which mute sounds the best for that very moment. So it creates this beautiful discussion and allows musicians to be involved in decision making. So they get empowered and excited about that role. So I'm thinking, instead of just telling them what to do and how to do it, I will leave a little bit of room for some kind of creativity on both ends. They will very much appreciate that approach. So now the mutes are off the hook. If I want to use the mute, I will write the mute. I can start with the cap mute, one of the kind, and then take it from there. No problem. If I don't like it, or just ask them to switch for something else and try it. And guess what? If we achieve better result, make a note on your music sheet. Done. All right, when it comes to the range of that muted trombone, we are going to deal with certain limitation. This is middle C. This is muted tenor trombone sound, playing that middle C. Now, this is the lowest note, D below middle C, and when we climb up, this is F above the middle C. That's the range. What speaks to us as comfortable and natural for that instrument. Of course, skilled trombonist may go higher, but it's going to be additional challenge for that musician to present these notes in tune, because they are much harder to control when you go beyond that range. The same thing if we decide to go lower than D, below middle C. We can go all the way to the B flat, but I can already tell that to achieve that clear sound of this, it's going to be much harder to achieve. Okay, so we've got additional challenge. Once I understand this, now I can come up with certain voicings. I can very easily fit 4 trombones into that range of motion. Okay, which means I don't have to go nuts. I can very easily live in this area. I can play any key I can play any key I want. Okay? So this limitation is actually good because it allows me to compress my performance into that smaller area. So I become more creative with the trombones and the melody line for that purpose. We like the mute for the purpose of creating a new color in your music. However, it also decreases the volume of the sound. Alright, so this is the muted trombone. The aspect of articulation with horns I would like to address later when we break down more horns than just the trombone, because the articulation is related to all of them, and it would be nice to have a video just for that purpose, okay, so you don't miss it. So we're going to skip that topic for later. When I ask myself questions like this, I break down that sound. When I do that, you see, I become less afraid of pursuing it. So now I'm more eager than ever to write for trombone. I understand the range. I introduce this sound to me through VST plugins first. Then, of course, music notation, paper, so it's another ball game. But I start asking questions, and I start asking questions the way my mind works. It's like, what do you want to know next? Well, I would love to write the music for trombone, but I'm afraid of it. Okay, why afraid? Because of the lack of knowledge. Okay, let's just start. What do you want to know? It's like, how about the comfortable range of motion? Here we go. Boom. Once you have it, you can play. Okay, we are almost there. There is a bunch of mistakes. It's attention 11th. But you see, this is A flat. So we are going to land on the tension line. And eliminate this. Extend it. Yeah. I like it. Let's start. And we've got something interesting. Our approach is designed to lead us towards a greater results. I have this ambition to write for trumpets, for trombones, and saxophones, which means the big band arrangements. This music slowly introduces me into that concept. As you see, we've got 4 voicings, sometimes 5 voicings. So this is perfect, direction, right? Because eventually I'm gonna just copy and paste, like for example, the lower parts of that voicing, and guess what? The trombone, it's gonna play it. How cool is that? Okay, so all of a sudden I'm more emboldened to challenge myself with horn section. Even though we still use horn section as for instruments, I already feel better about writing for trombone because I'm aware of these factors. I would like to hear from you. So let me know in the comment section your biggest obstacle when it comes to trombone. My name is Piotr Kowalczyk. I will see you next time. Bye.